Alright, so we got our hole dug for the weather station posting. Make sure there's no critters down there. Can't see in there, but it's about 4 feet deep. That's everything that came out. We're going to pour some concrete in here to mount the metal pole that the weather station is going to be on. And we had to dig it this deep because the frost line is like 50 inches down here in Michigan. So that's where we're at. We're at about 48 inches. I think that's probably deep enough for a little 3-pound weather station. Alright, we'll get it poured and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so as you saw before, we had a hole here for our weather station. The hole has been filled with concrete. It's about 2 feet deep with concrete, and then we backfilled the rest of the dirt on top, saving some that obviously wouldn't fit back in. Put that in the wagon. We're going to fill some holes around the property, and then we are going to build ourselves just a kind of a circle bed around this hole, because it's so sandy nothing's going to grow there until we put something in ourselves. But what we have in the ground is actually a 6-foot long piece of 3/4 inch steel pipe. It's threaded on both ends. We've got a 3/4 to 3/4 inch coupler, another 6-foot piece, and then I'll do the same thing, but at the top it'll be a 5-foot piece. So that will actually give us 12 feet of height for our Accurite 5-in-1 weather station. And I'm going to paint this pipe black, flat, with some Rust-Oleum flat black paint, and that'll just kind of help it blend in, so when you're looking at it against the woods, you won't see just a silver pipe sticking out. It'll kind of be black, so you won't really see it. But alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and I'll show you the weather station in just a second. Alright, so we painted the pipe black, as I mentioned before. Doesn't have to be perfect, so we just sprayed a quick 1 coat on there. And before we mounted the weather station over there, we put the pole on, made some keys. Okay. So these are keys that line up with the coupler that's on the rest of the pole over there that's in the ground. And what happens is when we go to tighten this up, we line up these keys back with where they lined up on the pole. And the reason we do that is because the 5-in-1 weather station, the rain gauge section, this part here, has to be facing south so that the solar panel here gets the southern exposure. So that way, when we go to put it up, it's properly oriented. Makes it a lot easier than trying to mount this thing, drilling through 3/4 inch steel at 10-12 feet in the air. So we're going to go ahead and get this installed and fire it up, and I'll go ahead and explain the rest of the components with you. Alright, so we're dealing with the Accurite 5-in-1 weather sensor, model 06004. This is the single solar panel model. They make an upgrade which has 2 solar panels, but really my sun comes from the south 90% of the time, so I only need the one. I don't know why they would make 2. It doesn't really produce any more power because the machine is actually powered by 4 lithium batteries. Do not use alkaline batteries. They do not hold up to the cold weather if you're in a cold area. For that matter, they don't really hold up well to heat. So lithium is the way to go. And it specifically says that in the manual. But it's a pretty good weather station. I had one for several years before this one, and it finally dry rotted on some of the pieces here. This one also comes with an upgraded monitor, which I'll show you in a minute, or actually I should say display. This is the 06058M for the display, and it comes packaged together. You can buy them separately and piece together your own kit. There's plenty of other accessories you can get for this. Lightning strike detectors and all that. One thing I did not like about this display is that it does not have a battery option. At least mine does not. I could have sworn my previous one did. It only uses the small power adapter, which is kind of cumbersome when you have limited space and don't want to have visible wires. But alright, so let me walk over here to the freshly mounted 5-in-1 weather station and we'll take a peek. Now, it is pretty sunny, so I apologize for the blown out video potential. I would do this in the evening, but I won't be able to come back out and do this when the kiddos get home without too many distractions. So as I mentioned before, the pipe, which you can barely see, is still drying. But we get around to this other side here. Alright. There's our weather station. Alright. At the moment there's no wind, so our little meter up there is not spinning. But the minute you put batteries in it, it does start to charge and make a kind of a whirring sound inside, and that's just the solar panel activating. And once it gets in the sun, you can really hear it. This was spinning a minute ago, but currently it's hot, 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 and there is no breeze. And again, for accurate wind, you know, you're supposed to be 30 feet up, but I think 12 will be good enough for me. A lot of people are going to say, oh, you're surrounded by trees. Yeah, we got some trees. We got trees all around. Heck, there's trees probably 15, I don't know, 25 feet away. But won't really interfere with the device all that much. And really, we're more worried about temperatures than we are wind, because we know which ways the winds usually come from. It's the temps out here that we're concerned about. And quite honestly, I'm a little concerned that maybe we should add more concrete to our base, because this is a little more wobbly than I would like. We'll see what happens in a few more days after the concrete is 100% cured. It does look like it has some wobble, and we get a lot of straight line winds, so if this thing comes down, we're definitely gonna have to figure out a way to mount this better. But the only option that Accurite gives you to mount this is a 3/4 inch steel pipe or their plastic adapter that mounts to wood or a structure. And we attempted to mount to a structure before we went with the pole. Oh, we got a little breeze. We got a little breeze. Look at that. There we go. Anyway, we tried mounting it to the side of the house, but we had no luck. Side of the barn, still no luck. Mainly because of the way the barn was constructed, and the fact that all the way around the barn it's completely sloped, so I couldn't get a ladder up there to save my life. But alright, well, I'm gonna go fire up the display and see what that looks like. Alright, see you in a minute. Alright, so we got the Accurate display set up for the 5-in-1 sensor, which we've been discussing. And it's actually working pretty good. It took about a minute or two to get calibrated with the sensor outside, and the claim is that you can be 330 feet away from that sensor. I am probably half that distance away. This is in our living room. There's some pretty big walls and concrete that separate this from outside the house in the direction that the sensor is, and we have had no problems, and we've got 5 bars of signal. I apologize if you can't read the display. My camera is an older camera at the moment that I use for these videos. So you know, basically it's got your temperature. The low and the high would display once there's a variation. Humidity, feels like temperature, a heat index, the outdoor pressure. You got your records on this side for rain, the 30-day high temp. This actually scrolls, so it's 30-day low, and it goes through rainfall, all that good stuff. Plus you got your time and your date on the side there, plus the wind direction. And this you can't see, but it says it's partly cloudy, or is that partly sunny? Anyway, let's see if I can zoom in. There's the display there. And what I like about this is you can set alarms so that you know, like if it's going to be freezing outside, you can set an alarm for a low temp of 32 degrees and it'll set off an alarm when the temperature reaches that. You can do storm alerts, high temps, low temps, all kinds of good stuff. And because this has only been set up for about 30 minutes now, I will be doing a follow-up video once we get some rain, which will hopefully be later this week because it's bone dry outside. And I will report back on it with a little update. Alright, hope some of you found this information useful. And as always, I'll try and put a link in the description for you and more information on the blog site, which you can find at www.howlingfarms.com. Alright, on to the next.